What's up, guys? This is Teddy. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video, we're going to be talking about one of the most, it's another one of those things that you see even if you are not a programmer. It's a for loop, obviously, because the title of this video. But yes, for loops are very important. And for loops, if you think about it, like what else could you do in programming? You can store data. You can choose which data you want to execute. You know, your program's executing sequentially, but really the powerful part of programming is going to be automation. It's going to be doing things repeatedly in a very fast manner. So humans, if you were to pick up a box, like pretend like a box is like an array. So you're just a person, you have a nice little box presented to you, and somebody just says to you, hey, go through each one of those and do something. So you would just go, hey, I'm gonna, well, for probably you're gonna start with the first one. You pick it up, you look at it, then you go to the next one, you go to the next one, you do something to it, and you kind of just do that. But a computer can't do that with data. It can't do it physically yet. It will eventually. So start studying, because you want to be the person who's going to be doing the automating. You don't want to be the person that's getting automated. It feels a lot better to be the person that's putting other people out of jobs, as bad as that sounds, but it's kind of true. But back to the point. The for loop is going to do this, but it's going to be doing them at, just so quickly that you could do thousands of iterations in less than a second. So the for loop is how you do that. And a for loop is relatively complicated, but I'm going to try and break it down. So for loop, we come up here, and I am just going to kind of show you just without actually doing anything. I'm going to do more pseudocode just so we kind of can, before we start jumping in here and getting crazy, let's actually kind of do a little bit of pseudocode. And I'm going to explain each part of the loop so that it doesn't confuse you, because loops they're innocuous. They seem normal, but they're actually kind of difficult. So this one, if you want to type, we can just go up here in the comments, or if you want to write this down on a piece of paper, you can do it as well. So this is going to be, the first thing is going to be the initializer, which is going to be what you initialize for your variable. The next is going to be the condition that you want. And then after that, we are going to have our iterator. Sort of complicated language, but nonetheless, it's really just computer slang. And it's really not that complicated once you kind of get used to it. So if I can figure out what I'm doing here, then we will have do some task over and over. So we have the initializer, we have the condition, and we have the iterator. So we've got that down. We've kind of just got like a nice little conceptual thing going on so that we can kind of have like a mental map that we can hang on our for loop to. So int I is equal to 0. That is the initializer. This, and look, it's already going to, IntelliSense is already going to do it for us. Thank God there's all these awesome tools. So we're going to go down here. Let's just go ahead and close out our loop and kind of slow down and look at this thing. So int is representative of a data type. This is a label for this declaration right here. You could literally change this to anything. You could call this initializer if you wanted to. There's nothing that's going to stop you initializer. So that is what the initializer is. This is the condition. How many times do you think, and we have to call this the initializer. No, I'm just going to name it I. Let's not get too carried away because we're going to get really confused. So let's just keep it I because that's convention. And we're going to go over here to the condition. What is actually occurring? What is happening is that this is only going to run 10 times after this increments it. So really what you want to do is you want to pay attention over here. Obviously, this is just declaring our I so that we can actually use it for these two things right here. But really what's important is kind of these two things. So just look at it like this. Each time that this for loop is executed, the I is going to increment. It's going to go down. It's going to do some task. And then it's going to go over here. It's going to check it again. And then it's going to increment it. Then it's going to check it again. It's going to increment it. It's going to check it again. It's going to increment it. And it's kind of just an ingenious way to say that we're only going to perform this task 10 times. Now, you could change this to 1,000. We could change this to 1,000,000 and it would execute it. We could change it to 5. We could, you can play around. Don't be afraid to just kind of come up here and play around, but we're going to keep it at 20. And let's just go ahead and do the most simple for loop that we possibly can. So we're going to come in here. If I can get IntelliSense to work, and then we're going to type in value of, then let's just toss in our I here. So this is going to give us string interpolation. If you don't know what string interpolation is, you definitely want to go back and watch my string video because I kind of go over that. But we're just going to toss in that I, and let's just run this debugger. If you don't know what a debugger is, you want to just go over here to kind of like this little bar. Then we are going to run it, see what happens. So it's going to initialize it. First things first, what it's going to do is it's going to initialize it. Also, key point here is that this I is only available in these brackets. Gonna kind of go off on a tangent here because this is really important. This is what's called scope, and I'll probably actually make a video on scope here in a little bit, but scope is your variables are only going to be accessible in certain parts of your program, and scope is what's going to control that. So like I said, I'm going to drop a video on it, but if you want to know a little bit more about it before I actually do the video, you can just Google scope and you can get a kind of good idea of what scope is. And once again, this I is only going to be available in this for loop. Our debugger, we're going to go ahead and step through it. You want to hit this arrow right up here, F10, or you can hit F10 and it will automatically execute it for you. But we're going to step over as opposed to step into. You do not want to step into. So if anything, if you get confused, just remember that this is going to actually click through. It's going to step by step execute our program. And then if you want to go inside of a function, you have to step into. So just very important, just remember that. It's in Visual Studio, but this is also going to be available in Visual Code too. So we're going to go ahead. Oh, there we go. It's going to do a comparison. Then it's going to go inside of it. So has it incremented yet? I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, boom. There we go. Many times people wouldn't have ever known that, or many times people don't ever step through if statements. So just kind of keep, go through it a bunch of times with the debugger and kind of just get used to how for loops are going to be executed. And it will give you a way, way better understanding of how, like a lot of this stuff works. And it's not going to, confuse the ever living crap out of you. So it's going to go through here. Let's see what number we are at. And as you can see, it's incrementing up. So each time we're going to go through, so let's do it again. Also, take a look into our console. Look at that. Isn't that so cool? It's just going to go through each one. It's going to iterate through it, and you can kind of just see it. So we're going to go 1. It's going to increment it again. It's going to re-execute. Then it's going to increment. Then it's going to check it again. And if you notice here, it never re-declares this part because the I's already been declared. It's just, instantiated our variable for us. And then what's really the most important parts are going to be these things right here. And that's going to, like I said, this is going to be doing the incrementing, and this is going to be doing the comparison. And this is what's actually going to keep it looping through. So the middle part is actually kind of like the meat of the for loop, so to speak. So it's just going to go, it's going to keep incrementing, but this is going to just keep slowly incrementing until the comparison is no longer true. That's so amazing that somebody actually thought of that. I think that there was probably just somebody out there who's just like, I gotta, get this thing to do this. And they just, had to do what they had to do. And they just actually made this. But sometimes it's just kind of cool just to like, whoa, what this is so crazy. This is like an ingenious. It's very clever. It's very ingenious. I don't know. Maybe if you know who actually invented the for loop, I've never known that. Maybe drop it down in the comments. I'd like to know if somebody actually knows that. So yeah, drop a comment. Also, maybe while you're at it, drop a like as well too, because it really helps the channel. All right, so we've got that. I hope that cleared things up for you. The next thing is that let's just modify it so that it reverses. How would we get a for loop to actually go backwards? That just seems like, obviously it's got to be done. Like there's somebody out there who's made a for loop go backwards, but we can actually just very quickly make it go backwards. And you do that by putting these little negative signs right here and then switching this over to so the alligator eats the eye. And that's pretty much how you make it go reverse. So go step through it. Let me see. What is going on? What did I do? Oh, there we go. So let's go ahead and let's step through this thing and see what happens. Remember, step over. It's going to declares it. Wait a second. What's going on? Oh. Yeah, I gotta do this. And I have to make it this right here. I'm sorry. So make sure that this is 0, make sure that this is 10, and let's go ahead and step through it. Yep, there we go. It's going down. It's gonna... Let's just step through it one more time. Okay, so it declares the eye. What's it gonna do next? It's going to check for the equality. So this is 10. Boom, goes down into it. After that, so after it actually executes, that's when it decrements. It's going to go over, it's going to check it, and it's going to repeat this beautiful process. Look at that. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. Look at her go. I hope that really gets you going. That was pretty cool. You got to admit, that's pretty cool. But I'm going to let you guys in on a little tip. You do see these I call this like a formal, this is the more formal way of doing a for loop. But, I hate to tell you this, but majority of the time you're actually going to be seeing you're actually going to be seeing a for each loop. And a for each loop is almost the exact same, but the best part is that we don't need, let me see here, var, let's declare hold on a second, I'm just gonna toss a list in here real quick. So I don't have to, okay. Let's go ahead and let's declare a list of Fibonacci sequences. And I will leave a link down below so you don't have to copy this if you don't want to copy this. I wouldn't want to copy this either. And then let's go ahead in here and let's just actually do our for each. So a for each is going to make it so that you can just make like these very syntactically pleasing for loops. And I'll show you what it looks like. Fib numbers. Then we're going to go down here and we're going to actually log our element. So what's going on here is we've created a list. So if you don't know what a list is, I've got to actually have a whole entire video on list. A list is a souped up array. It's basically an array. If you're not really familiar with C#, it's basically an array on steroids, and it's very fast. It's fast like an array, but it has the ability to hold really large collections of data and sort them very quickly, like you could like a linked list in Java, or an array list in Java. But a list is just like it's a cross between a linked list and it's a cross between an array, and it's really souped up. So it's not slow like a linked list, but it's fast like an array. So it's badass. I'm really amazed that C# even comes up with shit like that, but they do. That's why it's so awesome. All right, so we're gonna go up here. we're going to step through. So put your debugger right here. Many times people just want to console log stuff, but you just get a way deeper understanding if you just kind of step through it with a debugger and look at it, and you can actually see the data. So we've got our fib numbers right here. We're going to go down. Okay, sweet. So we have a count of 8. Got 8 of these right here. And let's see it and go through it. So we've got fib numbers. So the fib numbers is actually going to go around here. This is where you plug in like whatever you want to iterate through. Think about it like you're plugging in a machine. Like you're just, you're plugging it, you plug in your list and it's going to iterate through it just like a nice little machine. So it's going to go over here, in, and that's going to have the element. So what is the element? The element is the first one in the array. So look at that. It's just going to, okay, so this is the actual array, and the in is like basically reaching into the box, like I said, and holding it up for you. And then once the machine holds the value up for you, you get to decide what you want to do, and we're console right lining it. So go down through here, and let's see what the first thing is going to iterate through. What is that? It's our 0, and it's just going to, we get to choose. So like say for some reason, let me also just show you guys a cool like way of like visualizing this, or just kind of maybe understanding it. So if we just put that down here, this was a way that I always used to was able to kind of like understand these things. So watch what happens. We step through it, plug in our array right here. Machine is going to go in. It's going to lift up the value for you. It's going to present it as this variable right here. So the element, that variable is almost like holding it up as an object, and then you go down through here. Like I said, you're going to show the value in that console right there. Then it's going to go iteration. So you get to see here. Let's just step through it like a bunch of times. I'll show you like what it looks like. So we go through here. Yep. So each time, like I said, it's just going to go boom, 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 each one. So you could also, here's another crazy thing. You can also plug like all types of crazy stuff into this. It doesn't even have to be a list. So let's just see what happens when we plug in a string. What will happen? And we will fib numbers. So let's just make it like a real string. I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. All right. What are the Fibonacci numbers? I don't even know what Fibonacci numbers are. I'm supposed to know this. Oh, that's terrible. I don't even know what Fibonacci numbers are. All right. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. Let's just go through here. Let's not make it too complicated. We go down. Then we run it. We have to change this to a string because it is. Oh my gosh. This is a char. I just like broke my reality there. So this is going to actually be a char. That is crazy. Yes, it is going to be a char. I just learned that live on the live stream. Okay. So watch what happens. It actually will bust up a string. Like think about that. It's literally just like a wood chipper. You could just start throwing stuff, just at random right into there, and it's just gonna chew through it. And I honestly say get a little crazy. Maybe throw like a linked list in there. See what happens. That would be a cool. Actually, let's just toss in let's just do an array. We'll do an array really quick. I'm like getting nerdy in here. You guys are probably like, what in the hell? All right, so we're going to go into here. I don't know why they changed it. They turned it into a span, but let's do. Yeah, we're just gonna do an array. See what happens. So we'll do numbers. Just plug it in here. I guess. Another thing too is you could just change this to var. Like you could just change all of this to var. Let's just see if we can just change this to var. And what's going to happen, like, if you ever just get an error, and this is going to sound really bad, but I know a lot of people watching this are beginner programs. If you just want to fix it, and if you're getting crazy errors, just put a var there. I know there's like some dude that's like has like a lives in his mom's basement that's gonna be screaming and being like, "You can't do that!" But I'm here to tell you, you can do that, and nobody's gonna say anything. All right, we're just gonna go through. Let's just see what happens. Step through this. Yep, and it chews through an array. I don't see any other data types. So I'm just kind of scanning through here. I don't see any. Maybe that'll be a video for another day. I'll just like start going through just all types of like crazy data, and we'll just see how like what types of data that we can just plug into this like for each loop and just see if it can chew through it. But I mean, obviously the for each, it's pretty amazing. You don't have to go through all of this right here where you're declaring all types of like crazy, you know, you don't have to initialize anything. You just toss it in there. You're good to go, and you're doing everything. Or this one, you're good to go. You don't have to do a lot, but this one, you're gonna have to, you know, declare all that. You can, like I said, you can tweak these numbers though, and you can make things go reverse, and you can make things do crazy things. But I mean, most of the time, you're probably going to be using this more often in a professional setting. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you for watching.